Well, you do happen to be working on a thing which seems to have potentially some of the greatest impact on human civilization of anything humans have ever created, which is artificial intelligence. This is on the both detailed technical level and in a high philosophical level you work on. So you've mentioned to me that there's an open letter that you're working on.
It's actually going live in a few hours. So I've been having late nights and early mornings. It's been very exciting, actually. In short, have you seen Don't Look Up, the film?
Yes.
I don't want to be the movie spoiler for anyone watching this who hasn't seen it. But if you're watching this, you haven't seen it, watch it. Because we are actually acting out. It's life imitating art. Humanity is doing exactly that right now, except it's an asteroid that we are building ourselves. Almost nobody is talking about it. People are squabbling across the planet about all sorts of things which seem very minor compared to the asteroid that's about to hit us, right? Most politicians don't even have this on the radar. They think maybe in 100 years or whatever. Right now, we're at a fork in the road. This is the most important fork that humanity has reached in its over 100,000 years on this planet. We're building effectively a new species that's smarter than us. It doesn't look so much like a species yet because it's mostly not embodied in robots, but that's a technicality which will soon be changed. And this arrival of artificial general intelligence that can do all our jobs as well as us, and probably shortly thereafter super intelligence, which greatly exceeds our cognitive abilities, it's going to either be the best thing ever to happen to humanity or the worst. I'm really quite confident that there is not that much middle ground there.
But it would be fundamentally transformative to human civilization.
Of course, utterly and totally. Again, we branded ourselves as Homo sapiens because it seemed like the basic thing. We're the king of the castle on this planet. We're the smart ones. If we can control everything else, this could very easily change. We're certainly not going to be the smartest on the planet for very long unless AI progress just halts. And we can talk more about why I think that's true, because it's controversial. And then we can also talk about reasons you might think it's going to be the best thing ever, and the reason you think it's going to be the end of humanity, which is, of course, super controversial. But what I think anyone who's working on advanced AI can agree on is it's much like the film Don't Look Up, in that it's just really comical how little serious public debate there is about it, given how huge it is.
So what we're talking about is the development of currently things like GPT-4 and the signs it's showing of rapid improvement that may in the near term lead to development of super intelligent AGI, AI, general AI systems, and what kind of impact that has on society.
Exactly.
When that thing achieves general human level intelligence, and then beyond that, general superhuman level intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions to explore here. So one, you mentioned HALT. Is that the content of the letter?
Yeah.
Is to suggest that maybe we should pause the development of these systems?
Exactly. So this is very controversial. From when we talked the first time, we talked about how I was involved in starting the Future Life Institute, and what we worked very hard on 2014, 2015 was the mainstream AI safety.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that there even could be risks and that you could do things about them. Before then, a lot of people thought it was just really kooky to even talk about it, and a lot of AI researchers felt worried that this was too flaky and could be bad for funding, and that the people who talked about it were just didn't understand AI. I'm very, very happy with how that's gone, in that now, just completely mainstream. You go on any AI conference and people talk about AI safety, and it's a nerdy technical field full of equations and and blah blah.
Yes.
As it should be. But there's this other thing which has been quite taboo up until now, calling for slowdown. So what we've constantly been saying, including myself, I've been biting my tongue a lot, is that, we don't need to slow down AI development. We just need to win this race, the wisdom race between the growing power of the AI and the growing wisdom with which we manage it. And rather than trying to slow down AI, let's just try to accelerate the wisdom. Do all this technical work to figure out how you can actually ensure that your powerful AI is going to do what you want it to do, and have society adapt also with incentives and regulations so that these things get put to good use. Sadly, that didn't pan out. The progress on technical AI and capabilities has gone a lot faster than many people thought. Back when we started this in 2014, turned out to be easier to build really advanced AI than we thought. And on the other side, it's gone much slower than we hoped, with getting policymakers and others to actually put incentives in place to make steer this in the good directions. Maybe we should unpack it and talk a little bit about each. So why did it go faster than than a lot of people thought? In hindsight, it's exactly like building flying machines. People spent a lot of time wondering about how do birds fly, and that turned out to be really hard. Have you seen the TED Talk with a flying bird?
Like a flying robotic bird?
Yeah, it flies around the audience. But it took 100 years longer to figure out how to do that than for the Wright brothers to build the first airplane, because it turned out there was a much easier way to fly. And evolution picked a more complicated one because it had its hands tied. It could only build a machine that could assemble itself, which the Wright brothers didn't care about. They could only build a machine that used only the most common atoms in the periodic table. Wright brothers didn't care about that. They could use steel, iron atoms, and it had to be able to repair itself, and it also had to be incredibly fuel efficient. A lot of birds use less than half the fuel of a remote controlled plane flying the same distance. For humans, throw a little more money, put a little more fuel in it, roof, there you go, 100 years earlier. That's exactly what's happening now with these large language models. The brain is incredibly complicated. Many people made the mistake of thinking we had to figure out how the brain does human level AI first before we could build in a machine. That was completely wrong. You can take an incredibly simple computational system called a transformer network and just train it to do something incredibly dumb. Just read a gigantic amount of text and try to predict the next word. And it turns out, if you just throw a ton of compute at that and a ton of data, it gets to be frighteningly good, like GPT-4, which I've been playing with so much since it came out, right? And there's still some debate about whether that can get you all the way to full human level or not. But we can come back to the details of that and how you might get to human level AI even if large language models don't.
Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment down below about what topics you would like to see covered next. Thanks for watching.